Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Waterside Chat. We're just going to give folks a minute or so to get logged on, and then we will get started. I see some people coming in. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide and go through our interpretation instructions. If you would like to hear the interpreted language only, choose mute original audio from the interpretation options. If you would like to hear both the interpreted language and the original audio, do not choose mute original audio. And just as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. Let's see, we've got quite a few people joining. Just a reminder for those just joining us, go down to that lower bar and click on interpretation and select your interpretation language. All right. Let's go ahead and go through our agenda for today. We're going to start with a little welcome and introduction to the team members on the call today. And then we're going to show you our new Runway for Water video that we've been working so hard on and just debuted a couple of weeks ago. After that, we will have a little bit of some background information on our India program and share some details with you about the behind the scenes making of the video. And we'll save some time for questions and answers before coming to a close. So thank you for joining us today. On the call, we have Kat Lietzman, our marketing strategist, Hope Vocal, Director of Strategic Communications, Daryl Schreiber, that's me, Donor Engagement Manager, and our fabulous translator, Carla Dongo. So those are the Water for People team members live on the call today, but we will also be hearing from some of our Water for People India colleagues later on. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Hope to give us a little bit of context and background before we watch the Runway for Water video.
Thank you, Daryl. So we are going to take you to Maharashtra, which is a state in India. You may have heard of Mumbai. That is a pretty big Bollywood scene that's on the far eastern part of the state, bordering the Indian Ocean. But we're going, sorry, for our western, we're going to the far eastern, which is very mountainous there and forestry, and it's where a lot of India's tribal communities have made their homes for many, many years. As is happening with most indigenous communities, there have been land losses, there has been discrimination, and there's a lot of poverty and water scarcity. And part of that is because it's an incredibly hilly terrain. It's very difficult for the ground to retain water, and part of it is just that it is so rural and remote, and it is the tribal communities. Again, that discrimination piece has been really prevalent in almost every country that we work in, and it impacts water issues. But because of that, another global issue, as women are bearing the burden of gathering water for their families, their daily use. So they're doing walks multiple times a day for multiple hours a day. And so we worked with an outside partner to really help us try to break through and help people really understand what that looks like. So we'll talk a little bit more after, but Kat, you can kick it off.
OMW, on my way to you, good at what I do. I'm OMW, on my way to you, good at what I do. I'm OMW.
Great. Should I go right into Sahil's piece? To the next slide. Nope, there we go. So this is a video from our colleague Sahil Sharma. He is based in Delhi with our team there, and he is sharing, he's the senior manager, communications and influence, and he's going to share a few perspectives from his side, a little bit of a behind the scenes making of look.
I think from the ideation stage, it was very exciting. Like the word to use is that because it was an original idea which was untested. I mean, before now, and I think that is something which was very, very exciting to target fashion as an industry and then use it to showcase the water security issues that we are dealing with. We had us working with the team in Maharashtra who were amazing in ensuring that the communities were involved and we got people on the ground to participate as well. They got women wear the best saris that they had and dress up and walk. So that was amazing to see, and the excitement from the field of the team. It really is a powerful video, and I think the message that we want to showcase and the industry that we are targeting, the angle that we are taking to show the water problems, I think it's really, again, I would say it's really original. I mean, as a communicator, I feel that it's an amplification of my target audience. Maybe that target audience we were not looking at earlier, but this is now something, be it people who are influencers, be it the media, be it any high network individuals. Those are people who would be maybe the limelight of our work will then ensure that those people are also tuned in, and I think this video will help us get that audience on board as well. Something which has not been tested or done before. This is something new that we are trying, and it's something which should be looked at from a very fresh perspective by everyone. So I think that is one key takeaway I want people to see, that don't look at it from a programmatic eye, don't look at it from a fundraising eye, just look at it from an eye of a viewer and see if it excites you, if it moves you, if it actually pushes you to think about the issue. And that is something, that is the biggest achievement for the video will actually be doing. Bold. I think it's a bold step that we are taking, and I think it's a bold campaign. So for sure, I think that is one word. Share it. Share it as much as you can to all the people around you. You may not like it as well, but still share it because it is an important video, and it needs to be shown to as many people as possible. We need maximum views. We need more and more people to connect to it.
I'm actually wondering, with Sahil's words in mind, should we watch the video one more time?
I think it's a short video, so I think that's a great idea, Kat. And then you can jump to the next slide and we'll go from
OMW, OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW, OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW.
Thanks, Kat. So if you're familiar with Water for People, or if you're not, this video is a very, very different style than what we have previously put out. And one of the reasons for that was we've spent a lot of time over this last year working on communication strategy and outreach in the media world. And one of the things that has been very clear is that most of the United States does not care about the water crisis. And so it was becoming increasingly obvious that we needed to kind of break through what people thought they knew or what they thought they knew about the issue and what all was involved in it, because truly the water crisis intersects with gender issues and climate issues and health issues. And so this was one way that we wanted to bring attention to that. It was also really important to us that we were authentic.
I'm losing you, Hope. Oh, we lost Hope. Okay. Well, I'm going to pick it up. So the experience of the models, which are actually our cast of individuals, and the women from this village in Maharashtra, the region Hope mentioned before, and it's an area Water for People works in, and these are women that our colleagues have partnered with and have relationships with, and we're able to step up and be willing to show what their daily life was like. So even just this photo, this series of photos really brings out the clothes they're wearing and how authentic, and it is really stunning visually, but it also is authentic to their traditions and personalities and culture. And that's what we wanted to really carry through this video. Like, yes, it's inspired by a fashion video, but it's not about a new fashion line. It's about their experience and their walk for water. Hope, are you on? Are you there?
I did come back, yes, but I think you
Great.
picked up where I was kicked off pretty quickly.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and share this video that speaks, well, I'm just going to let it speak for itself, actually.
मैं मिसेज श्यामवती गंगाराम बेलसरे, मेरा नाम वंदना रमेश मिश्रा, गांव मेरा एक जीरा। पहले तो हमारे गांव में बहुत पानी आता था, बाजू वाले गांव हमारे गांव के पानी लेके जाते थे, पर ये 10-12 साल से हमारे गांव में पानी नहीं है। आज सुबह पानी भरने जाएगा तो 4 से 5 घंटे लग जाएंगे सर, और शाम को भी पानी भरने जाएगा तो शाम को भी 2-3 घंटे लगेंगे। घर में पीने के लिए तो 6-7 घंटे लग जाते हैं, और बाहर का पानी भरना तो और 6-7 घंटे और लग जाएंगे। तकरीबन हमको 2-2 घड़ा भी ला तो आधा घंटा लग जाता, तो 2 घंटा लग जाता। हमारे गांव में बहुत दिक्कत है, छोटा सा बच्चा झूले में रहता, मम्मी पानी को जाती 2-2 3-3 घंटे आती नहीं, 2 गुंडी के लिए नंबर लगाना पड़ता। पानी की तो सभी जगह अहमियत है, कपड़े धोने में, बर्तन धोने में, खाना बनाने में। तबीयत खराब हो गई तो कहीं इमरजेंसी में उधर जा सकते, फिर अगर हमारा पानी का बजट घर में आ जाएगा तो। पानी रहा तो अपने को ऐसा लगता है कि सब कुछ है। पानी है तो जीवन है, नहीं तो कुछ भी नहीं है। अगर पानी नहीं रहता अपना पास में तो फिर अपन क्या करेंगे?
Thank you, Kat. Hope, now that you're back, do you want to speak to that video a little bit?
Yeah, so hopefully if I repeat anything Kat said, forgive me, but that was a piece that was used B-roll from the actual footage so that we could let the women tell their own stories. Another piece that was really important to us. I think in a world where women, particularly in tribal communities, do not always have the agency, these women had an opportunity to speak to the issue directly, and you can hear from them. And I think it's really powerful when someone tells you that they've spent every day of their life since they can remember walking to get water. And so I know we're going to talk a little bit later with one of our colleagues who was really instrumental in helping the women to commit to participating in the film, because as you might imagine, a world of drones and multiple cameras and lighting is very, very different than what their day-to-day experience is like in the Chikhaldara block. So this is a little more of an up-close experience where you can see exactly where the Chikhaldara block is. Our offices are in the Amravati district, so it's about a 2 to 3 hour drive to get to some of the communities that we work with. And the accessibility varies during the rainy season or not, because sometimes there's flooding. The roads are not always paved, and again, it's still a very hilly area. But that doesn't mean that women get a day off from walking for water, whether they're sick or pregnant or on the latter end of age. It's still a necessity, and it's still a role that they primarily are responsible for.
So this stat, which is global, so in 7 out of 10 households that don't have water on site, it is the women and the girls who are primarily responsible. And as people who are familiar with Water for People, you've probably heard us talk about this before. And I like to say we're going to keep talking about it until it changes, because it's still the reality, and it is for the foreseeable future. And that's why we are all here. That's why we are part of this organization, and why you are also part of our community. Something that a few of the women mentioned in some of their interviews was the ripple effect of this loss of time. So they're spending hours every single morning walking for water. Sometimes the children are coming along. It's hilly terrain, as you can see in these photos and the video itself. And then once they have the water and come home, then it's cooking breakfast. And then the children can walk to school, which is another commute of walking distance. So all of that means just a massive amount of time lost. And then because the children are often then late for school, and it's just this ripple effect that impacts people throughout the day. And in some regions of India, they're doing that trip, excuse me, 6 times a day. And we did some rough calculations, which is 6,570 miles a year walking with heavy water vessels. I'm really pleased to share this video with our group here. This is Divya, another Water for People colleague, and she works directly in that area Hope just mentioned, in Amravati, in this district of Maharashtra. And she's going to give us a little bit of insight into her background, how she came to Water for People, what her role was in and participation in the production of this film, as well as what her own personal experience is like with water access.
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम दिव्या गजेंद्र टिपरमवार है। मैं वाटर फॉर पीपल इंडिया ट्रस्ट में गए 2.5 साल से काम कर रही हूँ। तब हम गांव वालों के साथ हमको अलग-अलग चैलेंजेस आते हैं, जैसे कि कभी कोई ट्रेनिंग चल रहा है, कोई ट्रेनिंग हम लेने वाले हैं, उसको उनके लिए मोटिवेट करना पड़ता, उनके बताना पड़ता। कभी गांव में पीडब्ल्यूएसएस का काम चल रहा है, उसके लिए श्रमदान के लिए गांव वालों को तैयार करना पड़ता। कभी स्कूल में बच्चों के साथ हाइजीन के बारे में काम करना पड़ता, कभी आंगनवाड़ी में एमएचएम के बारे में लोगों को बताना पड़ता। तब पर गाँव वालों के साथ जब बात करते हैं, जब उनको बताते हैं, कोई ट्रेनिंग के बारे में बताते हैं, तब एक अच्छा लगता है कि उनसे क्या राह मिलती है, उनको उस पर क्या सजेशन देना अच्छा लगता है। ऑफिस में हमारी ऐसे कैजुअल मीटिंग हुई, वहाँ पे हमको पता चला कि चिखलदरा ब्लॉक में कहीं भी तो फिल्म बनने वाली है 10 मिनट की। पर फिल्म बनेंगी कहाँ। फिर मेरे ध्यान में एक ज़रा गाँव था जो कि हरदम में जाती थी वहाँ गाँव में, तो महिला बहुत दूर से पानी लाती थी। जब भी कभी मीटिंग के लिए बुलाती थी, मैडम हमें पानी लाने जाना है, मैडम कल से पानी नहीं आया। फिर मैंने ऑफिस में बातचीत की वो गाँव के बारे में, फिर हमारे साथियों को वहाँ गाँव में लेके गई। वो गाँव की जो कंडीशन है, कहाँ से वो पानी लाते हैं, कितनी उनको दिक्कतें जाती है, वो हमने वहाँ पे जाके उनको बताया, दिखाया। गाँव वालों से फिर बात की कि सच में आपको कितने दिनों से तकलीफ है ये वाले, कब से आप ऐसा कर रहे हैं। बाद में उनको हमने शूटिंग के बारे में बताया, कैमरे के सामने आने का उनको बताना पड़ा कि कैमरे के सामने आना इतना दिक्कत वाला बात नहीं है, आप आ सकेंगे, आप कर सकेंगे। उनको मोटिवेट हरदम 1 नहीं 2 बार 3 बार हमको मीटिंग लेना पड़ी। इसीलिए वो सब महिलाएं तैयार हुए। तैयार होने के बाद उनको फिर हमने अलग अलग जगह पे शूटिंग ली। पहले शाम में हमने पहले दिन में सोनापुर में शूटिंग ली थी। सोनापुर में शूटिंग लेते समय वो उनका गांव नहीं था, वो उनके पड़ोस गांव वाला गांव था। अच्छा नहीं लग रहा था, उनके ऊपर लोग देख रहे थे, हंस रहे थे, उनको कंफर्टेबल नहीं लग रहा था। फिर भी हम उनके साथ जाके बात करते थे, अरे कुछ नहीं होता, वो तो चलता ही रहता, जब आपकी फिल्म बनेंगी तब आपको सब लोग देखेंगे। फिर बाद में दूसरे दिन उनके गाँव में शूटिंग हुई सवेरे सवेरे मॉर्निंग में, तब भी उनको बहुत तकलीफ गई। जब गांव में शूटिंग चल रही थी तब बहुत धूप थी और महिलाओं को बहुत चिड़चिड़ लग रहा था धूप की वजह से, पर उनको कहीं ना कहीं महसूस हो रहा था मन में कि नहीं, अपन ने शूटिंग की तो अपने गांव में कुछ ना कुछ फायदा होगा बाकियों को भी, इसीलिए वो शूटिंग करते रहे और एक अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस आया, हमें भी अच्छा लगा। जब वहाँ पे दिक्कत ऐसी रहती है पानी की, तो तब उनको पानी जब नहीं रहता गांव में, तब उनको कहीं कहीं झीरे पे पानी लाने के लिए जाना पड़ता। वहाँ पे एक आधा का पैर फिसल गया तो वहाँ पे बहुत से ऐसी दुर्घटनाएं कोई घट जाती है। पर जब गांव में जब वाटर फॉर पीपल इंडिया ट्रस्ट काम करता है पाइप वाटर सप्लाई के जब घर घर में जब नल आता है, उनके खुशी ऐसे झूम उठते हैं जैसे उनके गांव में कुछ त्योहार है, वैसे उनका रहता है उस दिन का। और जब से उनको गांव में घर में पानी मिलने रहता है, उनका टाइम बचता है। टाइम बचने के कारण महिलाएं वो टाइम ज्यादा से ज्यादा अपने खुद के लिए ध्यान देती है। आदमी लोग खेत में काम के लिए खेत में ज्यादा टाइम देते हैं। बच्चे लोग स्कूल में समय पे पहुंचते हैं। ऐसे हर एक सी बातें उसमें छोटे बदलाव उसमें हो जाते हैं। मैं 2 जगह पे बड़ी हुई हूँ। पहले तो मैं अमरावती में, मेरे बचपन तो अमरावती में दादी के पास गया, और बाद में जब मैं 8वीं कक्षा से फिर वर्धा में गई मेरे माँ पापा के पास। माँ पापा के पास जाने के बाद मुझे वहाँ पे शहर में थी, कोई दिक्कत तो कोई थी नहीं, पर जब हमारे यहाँ पे वर्धा में जब पानी की दिक्कत रहती थी, 4-4 दिन 8-8 दिन नल नहीं आते थे, तब हमको मम्मी तो ठीक है बाकी पानी तो स्टोर करके रखती थी पीने के लिए, कपड़े धोने के लिए। और मेरा एक पर्सनल अनुभव, जैसे कि मैं दीदी की शादी थी, शादी के दिन हमारे यहाँ पे वर्धा में पहले से 4 दिन के बाद 5वें दिन नल आता था। मैं शादी में से भाई को लेके शादी में से पानी भरने के लिए घर पे आई, वो तो एक मुझे बहुत कभी भी ऐसा जब मैं अभी पानी के ऊपर काम करती हूँ तो मुझे बहुत दिक्कत वाला लगता है। वाटर फॉर पीपल में आने का जब मेरा MSW कंप्लीट हो गया था और मैं जॉब की तलाश में थी, फिर मेरे फ्रेंड ने बताया कि अरे वाटर फॉर पीपल की संस्था है, वहाँ पे जॉब है, करना है क्या। हमारे सर जो बड़े सर है उन्होंने मेरा इंटरव्यू लिया, ऑनलाइन ही लिया। मैं बैठी हुई थी, मुझे कॉल आ गया कि आपका सिलेक्शन हो गया, आपको आना है। बाद में मैंने उनसे पूरी पूछताछ की, कहाँ आना है, कैसे आना है। बाद में उन्होंने बोला कि हाँ आपको परतवाड़ा में आना है, और आपको स्टार्टिंग में मिशन पानी प्रोजेक्ट में थी तो मुझे बोला कि आपको गाँव में रहना पड़ेगा। बाद में काम का कुछ पता नहीं था, पहला अनुभव नहीं था काम के बारे में, अपने को क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है कुछ भी नहीं पता था। पर जैसे जैसे सामने चैलेंजेस आते गए, क्या करना है कैसे करना है, ये सब मैं वाटर फॉर पीपल से सीखती गई। और मुझे बहुत सा एक्सपीरियंस सिखाया, बहुत सी बात तो मुझे वाटर फॉर पीपल ने सिखाया है, और मुझे मोटिवेट भी किया है कि नहीं आप ये कर सकते, आप करो। और जब तक मेरे से होगा तब तक मैं अपना काम अच्छे से करते रहूंगी। धन्यवाद।
Great. I know she covers a lot in that time, so thank you all for listening and understanding we had a recording, because of course those time differences between the US and India can be pretty long. So she's with us here in spirit, but shared some thoughts in advance. And something that struck me was her experience with the women that we've partnered with for this video, and just the bravery and the boldness and the the agency that they demonstrated in participating and joining this walk for water that was really a daunting video and process, but they knew they wanted to share with the world what their world is like, what their day-to-day is like.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kat. Yes, and I should have mentioned earlier in the session that, yeah, as much as we would love to have had our India colleagues with us here live and in person to answer your questions, there is a 12.5-hour time difference. So it's almost 11 p.m. in India right now. Yeah, so I think we might have lost Hope again, but hopefully she can pop back on. Yes, connectivity issues, always fun. We're now getting to the Q&A portion of our meeting. So if you have any questions that have come up for you, feel free to just throw them in the chat or use the Q&A feature down on that bottom bar of your Zoom window. I'm going to get us started by just reiterating something we have already heard you and Hope touch on, Kat, which is that this video is so different from a lot of other Water for People videos. Were there any concerns or challenges to making a video like this? And I see Hope is back. So Hope, I just asked the question, did you have any concerns or challenges in making this video?
Yeah, it was, I think we were all nervous because it was so different. We so often share the perspectives of people who have access to water, because that's huge and that's monumental, and that's why we're here. And this is taking a step away and being like, but what about this very real experience of not having access to water and reaching completely new audiences in this world of high fashion and connecting with the different fashion weeks going on right now. And we wanted to use this opportunity as a breakthrough moment, as Hope mentioned very early on. How do we reach new audiences, and how do we get people to care about this? It's hard when we're inundated with issues every single day, domestic and international, and natural disasters, and there's so much. But I always think about how at the core of it, water touches absolutely everything, from climate and environment to women's rights and gender issues and equality, as we see in this conversation, to human rights, water access as a human right, and it touches so many things. But how do you get people to notice or care? So that's what was really daunting and hard, but is part of our objective with this and why it's so different.
I think I would add on that it's really helpful to have trusted partners who are not in your same world. And I think when we were nervous, we really actually trusted our team at Edelman that was helping to put it together. And it was a great collaboration in that way. And I think when you're taking a risk, I think that is maybe the biggest thing Kat and I have learned that we've talked about is when you're taking a risk, like you want to be holding hands that you trust. And so I think that made it a lot easier for us. Because we weren't just launching this in isolation. I mean, this launched during New York Fashion Week in early September, but it also had a whole digital campaign associated with it. And then there's multiple fashion weeks they're rolling out over the rest of this month in Europe, and then in the US, LA and Dallas in October. And so there's just a lot of opportunities for us to continue with the messaging. But again, I think that partnership piece is really key to the kind of holistic experience of what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes so much sense. And do you feel like it was a good opportunity to maybe learn more or connect more with some different colleagues that we don't typically talk to on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely. Sahil, who we saw earlier on in this time together, this Waterside Chat, he has been instrumental in bringing the perspective of our India team. We've worked with our country director from India, Bishwadeep, as well as the local team members in Maharashtra who, yes, exactly. You don't necessarily get a reason to be on phone calls with them, especially when you factor in those time differences. And they're working in their world. As Divya said, she's really involved with working with people directly. I mean, she has that master's in social work. She's really involved in behavior change and trainings and working with people. So a little further removed from our world. So that was a really special opportunity and a moment for unity.
Thank you. Hope, do you have anything to add on to that, or Kat cover it? Oh no, Hope is frozen again. That's okay. We have a question in the chat from Jennifer. Will the second video, I believe the footage that wasn't used in the main video, will it be available to share? I thought it was fantastic and very moving. I would love to share it if we can.
100%, Jennifer, absolutely. We just are thinking a little bit through, do we have any activation strategy on social media with it? But no matter what, we will have it on YouTube, and we will have it on our website and shared. The ability to have it shared widely. I'm really grateful for that video because it accompanies our main one in a really profound way, where it's the women's voices coming through, and I think is an opportunity to get that inside look at their day-to-day and their life and their words. Absolutely will be available.
Awesome. Yes. And I'll share some resources too at the end of how you can share the video, the initial Runway for Water video, as well as some other resources we've created for you to share on social and other platforms if you're interested in sharing this with people in your life. We have one more question that's come in. Can you share some of the traction you've seen within the fashion world, fashion weeks, or other sources that have picked up on this video that you normally don't see?
Yes, absolutely. So we've had some exciting conversations with different media outlets in ways that we just never have before, which feels like standing on the precipice of something really big and a little nerve-wracking, but that's what our partnerships are for, is to help us through that and get that traction. We've also engaged with some influencers who are really specific to worlds of maybe the intersection of fashion and sustainability, or climate and gender. And so targeting partnerships like that to reach new people and get traction in those worlds where we wouldn't usually, but being really intentional about who those types of influencers are. And if they're sharing our content, it's going to ideally also resonate then with their audiences. And we've been seeing some traction that way as well.
Yeah, awesome. So exciting. Okay, I think we have time for one more question, which is this walk for water typical of other regions where we work? And how might it be the same or different in other areas?
Yes. So this is something that I have, as I mentioned before, have been thinking about. Is at Water for People, we've been talking about women's walk for water, and we shared the story of a woman named Anita in Peru recently, and it's, you see those threads of time lost and time not with family, or time spent not doing income earning activities, or just resting because of that walk for water. And that just is this universal message that keeps coming up in these different places across the world where we work. A statistic we hear often in sub-Saharan Africa specifically is that women and girls on average walk 6 kilometers a day for water. And that's something that connects to a sneak peek that Daryl's about to have. But I think about this distance, and no matter where, even if it's just a short distance, it's still walking, it's still time, it's still effort and energy. And the opportunities that are unlocked when there is water right at home is transformational.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kat, for stepping in, especially since Hope was having trouble with her internet connection. Thank you all for coming. I really hope that you enjoyed the kind of behind the scenes peek at how this video was made, why it was made, what we're hoping to accomplish with it, and of course, just highlighting the amazing work that our India colleagues are doing, and the ongoing work of Water for People in India. So to close us out, I want to share with you a really fun opportunity. If you're interested in knowing how you can help in the long walk for water for women around the world, we have created the World Water Classic. It is a 6K, a little riff on the traditional 5K for that average 6 kilometers that women and girls walk for water each day. The registration link is in the chat. If you're interested in checking that out, you can walk or run a 6K, you can bike a 60K, you can do both. And we also have a Get Creative category. So if none of those are your thing, you can, creative and do whatever kind of movement you want to participate in our World Water Classic. So your participation in the Classic helps make Water for People's mission of Everyone Forever a reality, which means a world where every person has access to safe, reliable water and sanitation that lasts forever. So thank you once again for coming today. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we will see you all in the next Waterside Chat. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you all. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.